أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله أهل الحمد ووليه ومنتهى الحمد ومحله، البديع البديع الأجل الأعظم الأعز الأكرم المتوحد بالكبرياء والمتفرد بالآلاء. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، الذي كان في أوليته متقادما وفي ديموميته متسيطرا. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وخيرته من خلقه، اختاره بعلمه واصطفاه لوحيه، صلى الله عليه وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، فأوصيكم عباد الله وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ونظم أموركم. أما بعد، فقد قال الإمام الصادق عليه الصلاة والسلام: إن العبد ليرفع له من صلاته نصفها وثلثها وربعها وخمسها، وما يرفع له إلا ما أقبل عليه بقلبه. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Respected scholars, my elders, dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the beginning of my khutbah, I would like to invite myself and invite you as well to have the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be a pious person, to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in each and every aspect of your life. One of the manifestation of taqwa was namaz, was the prayers that you are doing. And we initiated our discussion about how to perform our salah, our namaz in a better way. So you all are aware that our prayers are having two dimensions, or you could say two levels. The first level is the apparent level, which is related to the fiqhi aspect of namaz, like what you are reciting, the ahkam of wudu, how to perform the wudu, etc., etc. Your recitation, your phrases that you are pronouncing, the apparent aspect of namaz which is related to fiqhi aspect. And our fiqh, our jurisprudence has given us the guidelines for that as well. And in appearance, the criterion for acceptance of our namaz is something which is related to fiqh. Like if you are performing wudu correctly, if you are starting your namaz correctly, if you are reciting the qira'at, recitations correctly, your namaz in appearance is being considered as a correct namaz. But there is another dimension or another level for namaz as well, which is the inner aspect of namaz. And that is the soul, the spirit, and the real aspect of your namaz. Why I'm saying that? Because Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam explains in this riwayah, he says, إن العبد ليرفع له من صلاته نصفها أو ثلثها أو ربعها أو خمسها. That a servant who's performing the salah, who's performing the namaz, his namaz is being accepted some of the times only nisfuha, only half of namaz. Some of the times it's thulthuha, 1/3 of namaz. Rubu'aha, 1/4 of namaz. Khumsuha, some of the times you are giving a khums in your namaz. How? You are giving only 1/5 of your namaz to Allah, and other thing you are keeping it to yourself. Do not give khums in namaz. It's only wajib on your wealth. In namaz you have to give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 100% manner. So why Imam is saying that? Imam doesn't say that your wudu is batil. If your wudu is batil, your namaz is not accepted at all. So we are not talking about wudu, we are not talking about the apparent recitation of your namaz. It's rather about the inner aspect of your namaz. It's rather the spiritual and inner aspect of your namaz, where Imam is saying only some of the portion of namaz sometimes is being accepted, and other aspect of your namaz, other portion of your namaz will not get accepted because that element is not there. You would ask, what is that element? What is that aspect and element through which we can reach to that inner aspect of your namaz? That element is called hudurul qalb. If you are not having hudurul qalb, then your namaz is lacking something. And that is your inner aspect of your namaz that you're lacking in your namaz. So this is very important discussion of hudurul qalb. What is hudurul qalb? Hudur means presence, and qalb means the heart for our youngsters. That hudurul qalb means when your heart, your existence, your body, your being is present somewhere. You are with your 100% presence in somewhere. Some of the times you are somewhere, but your mind is, walking somewhere else. You're sitting inside masjid, but your mind is there on the ground. You are playing football with your mind. You are watching football with your mind. You are playing video game with your mind. Your body is here, but your mind is doing business with some clients. Your mind is selling the things in the shop. Your mind is taking care of, office. So this is happening to every one of us, including me. Maybe I'm giving the khutbah in front of you. My mind is taking care of maybe some books, or maybe some articles, or maybe things which I'm going to do afterwards. So it happens for me as well. But a person who's with 100% presence of heart and doing that thing with 100% presence, that person is giving a full performance for that. This is something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. This is something which Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam is referring to in this hadith. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So now this important discussion of hudurul qalb, inshallah I'll be covering some of the statements and discussions by some of the popular scholars, that what they believe and how they are giving us the guidelines in order to reach to and achieve this hudurul qalb in our namaz, in our prayer. Because if namaz is not getting accepted, then definitely other ahkam, other ibadat, other worships are not getting accepted as well. So namaz from that aspect is very, very important for us. In order to achieve that taqwa, in order to achieve that piety that we are talking about every week over here, namaz is very important. In order to achieve namaz, huzurul qalb is very important. Now, today I'm just presenting one discussion by Ayatollah late Imam Khomeini, who presented in his book the Sharh of 40 Hadith, that what is huzurul qalb. He says that we are having two levels or two steps for huzurul qalb. Some of the times the first step of huzurul qalb is huzurul qalbi fil ibadah. That means you are coming for a worship, you are coming for salah, you are coming for namaz, and you are having huzurul qalb. But this one is called huzurul qalbi fil ibadah. That means you are very, very precautious about what you are reciting. The pronunciations have to be very correct. You are performing it very correctly. You are repeating it again and again. You are taking and performing your wuzu very correctly. You are very, very cautious about the practices you are doing. Even when you are coming for namaz, your thoughts are under control. You are controlling yourself not to go anywhere else, but to remain inside the masjid, but to remain on the sajada. This is how you are performing what's in the first step, which is called huzurul qalbi fil ibadah, means presence of heart in the worship. So you are paying attention to your namaz, you are paying attention to your ibadah, you are paying attention to recitation of Quran, you are paying attention to the azkar that you are reciting in your namaz. This is the first step. This is wonderful. This is very, very necessary and very, very wonderful. I believe if a person does this thing, he is, I believe, amongst the elite people who are performing the namaz. But there is another level of huzurul qalb, which Ayatollah Khomeini explains over there. He says there is another level of huzurul qalb, which is called huzurul qalbi fil ma'bud. That means you are having presence of your heart, but not only for the worship, but for the person you are worshipping, for the entity you are worshipping, for that ultimate presence, that ultimate existence that you are worshipping for the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here you are bothered, you are worried about your worship as well, but you are more worried about a person you are standing in front of, about a person you are talking to, about a person you are having conversations with. This is called huzurul qalbi fil ma'bud. Our ma'bud is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here the presence of heart is not only for the ibadah, though you have to cover that as well, but your thoughts and your thinkings are directed and referred to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. This is very, very important. And we see even our imams, when they were performing the act of huzurul qalb, they were all precautious about having the huzurul qalb for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you are having such huzurul qalb, even if your practices are having a shortcoming as well, that shortcoming will never harm your practice. That shortcoming will never harm your ibadah. Why? Because you are standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you are there because you want to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. While you are talking, Allah would say, He is Rahman and Rahim. Even if you can't pronounce it very well, if you are reciting your Furada namaz, for example, even if you can't pronounce a word very well, Allah would say, I'll forgive you. Because you are paying attention to me. You're talking to me. And this is much, much more important. Once Abu Hamza al-Thumali was reciting the namaz behind Imam Sajjad alayhi salatu wasalam. All of a sudden this rida, this cloth of Imam Sajjad, this slipped. And then Imam, so just imagine that I'm giving the khutbah in front of you. If this happens to me, what I would do, I would quickly would do like this. Even within namaz, I would do, okay, let me prepare my clothes again. Let me be the way I came to masjid, yes. But Imam, he did not correct the rida. So it was something very strange for Abu Hamza Thumali, because he would correct his clothes whenever it happens. So Imam, after the namaz, Abu Hamza Thumali went to Imam and asked, Imam, why didn't you correct your rida when the rida fell down? Imam replied, didn't you see whom I was talking to? Didn't you see whom I was having conversation with? I couldn't do so because the person whom I'm standing in front, the presence of that person, the significance of that person, I'm calling person, please do not consider Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as any other person, because we don't have any other word. That's why I'm referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the title of person. But I have to say that wujud, that ultimate wujud, that ultimate being, when I'm standing in front of Him, I have to be taking care of that conversation, that talk, that connection with Him. I shouldn't be paying attention to other things. When I can achieve this thing, when I can reach to this level, this is called huzurul qalb. And this is, by the way, the second level of huzurul qalb, which is huzurul qalbi fil ma'bud. Because I'm all my attention and I'm attentive towards Him rather than any other thing besides me. So this is how you have to perform your namaz. And this is, by the way, very, very tough, you know. This is very, very tough. I sometimes, when people are saying, Maulana, I'm forgetting which rakat I was in, or I'm having shak in my namaz, this and that. You know, I'm not getting bothered and offended by this thing. Even I'm sometimes getting happy. Why? Because I'm not encouraging you to have shukuk, you know. But sometimes what happens is that you are too much into the namaz, too much into the recitation, you are paying attention to the words, you are paying attention to that connection and talk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you forget I'm in second or third. As easy as that. I'm not encouraging. From tomorrow maybe I'll getting some of the message, Maulana, this is happening to me as well. This is not the way you have to have the huzurul qalb. So that is why I'm saying this is very tough. Why? Because you have to have the attention towards both of the things. You have to pay attention to your namaz as well as ma'bud. But in a way that you remain in the same structure of namaz, simultaneously you are giving your 100% attention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. And that is why the preface and the introductions or the introductory practices that we are having for namaz are the preparations to give you that attention. Why we are reciting those du'as before namaz? Why we are reciting those du'as after namaz as a ta'qibat? These are the things which will give you that relaxation to build that connection with Allah, with your ma'bud. Otherwise, if you are running from outside and coming directly into the namaz and joining namaz, it will not give you that sense of, you know, connection and talk. Let's imagine there is a meeting and you are starting your meeting with this, like opening the door directly towards a chair and starting the presentation. Okay, we are having this discussion today. Versus you are coming to meeting and sitting over there for 5 minutes before the meeting, you are relaxing, you are paying attention, and then you are starting your meeting with that connection, with that attention, with that focus on the meeting. Definitely your presentation will be better in the second position. So this is how you have to build that connection. That is why we see that it has been narrated from Ta'us Yamani, that he was passing by Kaaba. He saw Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salatu wasalam that he's performing namaz over there. So he saw that Imam al-Sajjad is from amongst the Bani Hashim, and maybe he was having some fluctuations in the Aqidah as well. That's why he I didn't mention that I was referring to my Imam at that time. But as a pious person, when he saw that Imam is doing the ibadah, he said, if Imam is reciting something, I have to pay attention, because Imam is very much precautious about the du'as that he recites. Then he saw Imam is performing an act of huzur qalb, to get the huzur al-qalb. And then he says Imam was reciting this dua, which is recommended to recite before entering into your namaz. So even if you can memorize this dua before entering into the namaz, this is very much recommended. And even in your sajdas, you can recite this dua as well. Imam was reciting, Ubayduka bifina'ik. Ubayduka bifina'ik, miskinuka bifina'ik. Faqiruka bifina'ika, sa'iluka bifina'ik. Fina, you know, what does it mean? Fina means the courtyard, the gateway, where you are entering a building, a house. It's like, imagine you are coming to namaz and you are imagining yourself, I'm standing over here, and this is the fina. This is the platform wherein I'm entering into that trip, that journey through which I can reach the presence of my ma'bud. And I'm saying, oh Allah, Ubayduka bifina'ik. This is your Ubayd. Oh Allah, your servant is standing at your gateway. Miskinuka bifina'ik. Oh Allah, the poor person in front of you, he's standing at your gateway. Faqiruka bifina'ik. Oh Allah, the person who's needy to you, he's standing in front of you. He wants to come to you. Sa'iluka bifina'ik. Oh Allah, what else do you need? I'm here to ask you. I don't have anything from my end. I'm asking you, whatever I'm having in my life is a su'al, it's a question, it's a ask, it's a need. This person who's asking that need is standing in front of you. Now, if I'm having this situation, then you reply to me. See, when you are having this situation, you're standing at the courtyard, at the gateway, at the portal, the divine portal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're asking Allah, I want to come to you. I want to start a conversation with you. I want to start a talk with you. Do you think Allah would not listen to you? Definitely Allah will listen to you. This is how Imam al-Sajjad, he taught us. Our Imams are teaching to us how to go towards namaz, how to start your ibadah. This is how you can gain your huzurul qalb. Wallah, I want to be here in the namaz, in the sajda, in the salah. May Allah give us tawfiq to be on the path of our Imams and to gain that level of tawheed and ma'rifah that our Imams were having. May Allah give us tawfiq to have huzurul qalb in our namaz. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahus samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When we are having a huzurul qalb for an ibadah, for a worship, that means we are paying attention to the supreme power of this universe. That means we are negligent and we are avoiding, we are not looking at any other source of power in this world. If even every Muslim can reach this level of having huzurul qalb for every ibadah, even if it is a social ibadah, we are having types of ibadat, types of worships. Even if it is happening for our individual ibadat, then we will never look at any person, any individual, any power, any supreme power who's coming to the power or going from the power, who's getting elected, becoming president, going from the presidency, it will never give us any change in our iman. Why? Because we are looking at the supreme power of this universe. That is why even in recent days we have seen that many things have happened, and people are getting elected, becoming president and coming to the power. These things will definitely affect to the people who are having the weakness in their iman. But if your iman is strong, if your worships are having huzurul qalb, you can rest assured that you will never get shaken by such things happening in the world. So this is the reality of the matter, that if we are mindful of what we are doing, if we are paying attention to our ibadat and worships, this definitely is going to help us in our social and political scenario as well. In recent days, I've seen on the news that Ayatollah Sistani, hafazahullah, he met with the United Nations Secretary General of Iraq. There also he insisted upon the idea of that the nations who are a member of United Nations, who are there to resolve the big political and international problems, were completely unsuccessful in resolving the matter of Gaza and the matter of Lebanon. They cannot prevent such atrocities and genocides which are happening there. It is very important how Ayatollah Sistani still insist upon this idea on a very official and formal level. That is why the idea, because at times it happens when the atrocity or such incidents are happening, in first few days these are the very important issues for us. We are there, we are taking it very seriously, we are discussing about these things and all, but after some days these things will become very as a norm for us. It will become very habitual to us to hear every day like hundreds of the people are being killed and being martyred over there. So it will become very habitual. It happens, but you have to keep that thing alive. If one Muslim brother of yours is a subject of injustice anywhere in the world, you have to keep that alive, that there are people who are doing the injustice. Those people are our enemies. And the people who are facing the injustice, people who are facing these genocides and atrocities, these are the people who are our brothers and sisters. And we are there always for them, and we have to support them by any means that we can do. So do not make it habitual for yourself that okay, you did du'as, you were worried about this thing, you did your performance on social media, etc. It happened for 1-2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, and then that's it. No. You have to be very careful. You have to work for that. You have to keep that alive. You have to keep that alive in the minds of other people. I'm getting sometimes very ashamed when I'm seeing that non-Muslims are protesting. Non-Muslims are coming out. Non-Muslims are, giving their demonstrations about these genocides and injustices are happening. But we as Muslims are doing very less. So may Allah give us tawfiq to be more active in this regard and help our Muslim brothers and sisters by whatever means we can do, inshallah, in our life. And we are having a number of other discussions as well, inshallah. In next Jum'ah, I'll be covering those discussions as well. May Allah give us tawfiq to be on the right path of His. May Allah give us tawfiq to have huzurul qalb in our ibadat and worships. May Allah give us tawfiq to be always to do things which are pleasing Him, insha'Allah, tabaraka wa ta'ala. Ameen ya rabbal alameen. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Inna a'atainaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar. Inna shani'aka huwal abtar. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع مذنبين محمد وصل على وليه ووصيه أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء وعلى سبطي نبي الرحمة الحسن والحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم صل على الحجة الثاني عشر بقية الله المنتظر مولانا صاحب الزمان. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات، إنك مجيب الدعوات، إنك غافر الذنب والخطيئات، إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجا. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. 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 الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله. أشهد أن عليا حجة الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح، حي على خير العمل، حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. إني وجهت وجهي للذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا وما أنا من المشركين. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن